Once upon a time, deep in the heart of an emerald green forest, Princess Snow White lived happily in a cozy little cottage with her 7 dwarf friends. Life was cheerful until word came that her wicked stepmother, the Queen, had once again grown jealous of her beauty. The Queen, disguised as an old peddler woman, brewed her most devious plan yet, a shiny red apple laced with deadly poison. One golden afternoon, Snow White was sweeping the cottage floor when she heard a gentle knock. "Who could that be?" she whispered, peeking out the window. There stood a hunched old woman in a ragged cloak, holding out a single, glowing apple. "My dear girl," the woman croaked, "a sweet apple for a sweet child. One bite and you'll taste happiness itself." Snow White's kind heart made her want to trust the stranger, but she had learned from the Queen's past tricks. The glint in the woman's eyes, the oddly perfect shine of the apple. Something wasn't right. "This must be my stepmother again," she thought. Instead of refusing outright and revealing her suspicion, Snow White smiled politely. "Oh, what a lovely apple," she said. "May I taste it with you?" The old woman stiffened. I never eat my own wares," she stammered. Snow White's mind raced. If she rejected the apple, the Queen might attack another way. But if she could trick her stepmother into believing she'd succeeded, perhaps she could end this once and for all. With a graceful nod, Snow White took the apple. "Thank you, kind lady," she said, raising it to her lips. The dwarfs were just returning from the mine, watching from the trees. They gasped as Snow White bit into the apple, except she didn't. With a magician's skill, she only pretended to sink her teeth in, letting the apple slip from her fingers to the mossy ground. "Oh!" she gasped dramatically, clutching her chest. "I feel so faint." She collapsed gently onto the forest floor, eyes closed, breathing slow. The Queen's eyes sparkled with cruel delight. At last, she hissed, cackling as she hurried away. "Mirror, mirror, I shall be the fairest of them all again." The moment the Queen disappeared into the woods, Snow White sat up and brushed off her dress. The dwarfs burst from their hiding place. "Snow White, are you all right?" Doc cried. "I'm perfectly fine," she whispered with a grin. "But now we know for certain who the old woman truly was. It's time to end her wickedness." With the dwarfs' help, Snow White devised a plan. They followed the Queen's trail back to her dark castle. There, they caught her boasting to her magic mirror about her triumph. When the Queen saw Snow White alive and unhurt standing in the doorway, her face twisted with shock and rage. "You impossible!" she shrieked. "You may be cunning," Snow White said calmly, "but cruelty always reveals itself." The Queen tried to summon dark magic, but the dwarfs were quicker. They trapped her, and her own spell backfired, sending her fleeing into the night, never to return. The kingdom rejoiced when the truth spread. The brave princess had outwitted the Queen without ever taking a single bite. Soon after, the kind prince who admired Snow White not for her beauty alone, but for her cleverness and courage asked for her hand in marriage. Snow White accepted, but not before ensuring her dwarf friends had grand places of honor in the royal court. From that day on, she ruled with wisdom and wit, a queen who never forgot that the sharpest weapon of all was a clever mind. And the apple, it stayed locked in a glass box in the royal library as a reminder. Sometimes the sweetest looking traps are the easiest to spot if you keep your eyes open. Moral: true strength is not just in kindness or beauty, but in cleverness and caution. Thinking before you act can save your life and your kingdom. The end.